Committee for the Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal, CSICOP. http://whale.to/b/csicop.html. CSICOP, a professional debunker for the elite, a pseudoskeptic organization. Elite and pharma thought police. Homeopathy bashing a favorite. Recently, 2008, leading the elite's attack on anti-vaccinators links that the CDC is sending to all schools in USA. They send it to the district epidemiology office, whose job it is to send it to all schools. Link a covert arm of the elite, like all quackbusters link. If Randi is a psychic or has similar power, then it would be easy for him to scupper anyone doing a dowsing demonstration. Are some skeptics debunkers in sheep's clothing? By Keith Rowell. Link. Toxic Disinformation, Joel Karlinski, CSICOPS, and Orgonomy by Jim Martin. Link. CIA Perception Management, the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry examines mind control, and the cycle of child abuse by Alex Constantine. Link. External Dennis-Lee, his critics, and the skeptics. Link. Beware pseudoskepticism. Link. Website, http://www.csicop.org/. C. Pedophilia. Yes, pedophilia. Links. CSICOP Fellows, Richard Dawkins. Link. Quote, membership of the Foundation is interlocked with that of the Committee for the Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal, CSICOP, an organization which debunks the proven free energy research of such luminaries as Nobel Prize nominee Nikola Tesla. A board member of CSICOP is Professor Paul Kurtz, chairman of Prometheus Books, which publishes books describing pedophile encounters. Its human sexuality editor is CSICOP member Professor Irvin Bulow, who is also a board member of the DECA. Pedophile Lobby Group, Stop Misleading the Children, M.R. Jennings by Brian Desborough. Link. CSICOP is the original skeptic organization, from which all other skeptic groups have flowed over the last 30 years. It was founded originally as a Marxist/atheist organization that poured its academic energy into disputing everything spiritual, religious, and otherworldly. For much of its early years, while the CIA searched for psychic weaponry, CSICOP was on hand to publicly dispute the possibility of such psychotechnology, ensuring that if it was viable it didn't fall into the wrong hands. However, in the 80s, with the Cold War coming to an end, and the CIA turning its interest to the protection of corporate rather than Cold War America, CSICOP became more and more involved in the defense of pharmaceutical company competitiveness. The British branch of CSICOP also played a part in setting up the campaign against health fraud, which later became HealthWatch. The only professor of alternative medicine in Britain, very sick, Edward Ernst, is a CSICOP fellow traveler, and spoke deridingly of all forms of CAM at their 11th International Conference in London. January 2008. Shaking hands with Monsanto and Big Pharma, The Guardian, and Observer's ongoing war against alternative medicine. A review of Suckers by Rose Shapiro by Martin J. Walker. Link. Government thought control of scientists and professionals. This is a two-pronged, divide-and-conquer strategy carried out through two teams of covert propaganda agents, which I call the pseudoskeptics and the pseudo-paranormalists. The pseudoskeptics pose as members and leaders of the intelligentsia, while the pseudo-paranormalists pose as members and leaders of the public's grassroots alternative community. The message of the pseudoskeptics also coincides with the government's official, public position on science, while the message of the pseudo-paranormalists is intended to represent irrationality, mixed with things like the worst kind of religious superstition and paranoia to make the government's position seem more rational by comparison, and things the government wishes to discourage through ridicule heaped upon them by the dupe intelligentsia, unwitting or useful educated idiots. What we are presented with as skeptical opinion in those magazines on the book stands such as The Skeptic, The Skeptical Inquirer, or Skeptical Opinion is more like overt government propaganda than anything remotely resembling true skepticism in the historical tradition when it comes to the so-called forbidden topic of UFOs. What the government's reign of thought terror has done is reduce the ranks of true skeptics to a small few, who have little or nothing to do with groups or their magazines. I can be confident that these magazines will not respond directly to my accusations in obedience to a covert policy to never mention or cite anyone who is not a part of the official two-pronged thought control loop. This avoidance is another badge of their conscious fraud. PDF Occult Science Dictatorship, the Official State Science Religion, and How to Get Excommunicated by William Linelink. The so-called skeptics of CSICOP, Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal, headed by Class, are not true skeptics, but rather a clandestinely controlled false propaganda operation of the OSI, Office of Scientific Intelligence, a branch of the CIA's Science Directorate, under its Clandestine Services Operations Division. Their operations within the continental U.S. are illegal under the U.S. Constitution, but if you read the so-called national security laws, you'll see that Congress has betrayed we the people by agreeing to the passage of legislation which permits this betrayal by allowing pretty much anything the spooks want to do. These laws are completely void, because Congress has absolutely no jurisdiction to pass any law which contravenes constitutional prohibitions against the violation of our inviolable, human, natural Bill of Rights, so they are all liable for prosecution by the people for their treason. A true skeptic in the original sense, as elucidated by the parallel writings of Valmiki, of ancient India, and Socrates, of ancient Greece, should question everything. CSICOP supports the official government denial of the existence of man-made electro-propulsive flying saucers, and is a covert creation of the government, involving the CIA, the Smithsonian Institution, the National Science Foundation, etc. The only thing they are skeptical of are the assertions of the alien believers, spawned by the government's own 1947 Roswell press releases, and the assertions of the other paranormalists, also designed by covert government operatives. This at best is pseudoskepticism, at worst, a massive criminal fraud perpetrated by the government upon the people. A Truth Seeker Goes to Roswell by William Linelink. All of the links at http://www.to/b/CSICOP.html. Randi has put up a reward for many years for proof of the paranormal. It used to be a $10,000 reward. Apparently, debunking can be a lucrative career, and Randi has raised the reward to $1 million, apparently also with donations from supporters of his cause. Mr. Skeptic has worked with Randi, and apparently got Randi to extend his reward to free energy. I asked Dennis about it, and he said Randi's reward was written so that Dennis could never collect it. Randi apparently wrote his offer with the skill of the cleverest lawyer, giving himself an out. I would never stoop to going after Randi's money, and I doubt Dennis would have. The money was never safe for flimflam. Page 252. Joke clearly displays his mentality. Randi's offer is not made in the spirit of impartial investigation, but more as an arrogant boast that he is right, and dares the world to prove to him otherwise.